welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, then thank you so much for coming here and checking out my channel. My name is Frida and welcome to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be talking all about the Soft Glam Anastasia palette that just released recently. I did get it by myself with my own money, so this isn't like PR or sponsored or anything like that. Anastasia doesn't even know I exist. So I have been trying out this palette for this whole entire week. I didn't tell anybody that I received it. I didn't Snapchat about it. I've just been like more keeping it on the down low so I can just really form my own opinions about it. I haven't really watched any other people's tutorials or any other people's reviews or anything. I just wanted to form my own personal opinion. I didn't want anybody else's opinion to affect mine. So I've been trying it out this whole entire week. It is Saturday now and I believe I received it in the mail like Tuesday or something. So I have been trying it out every single day since then, multiple times a day, just seeing what different looks I can create and really just getting like a thorough review in my head for you all. So yeah, if you guys are interested on my review and my swatches and my tutorial on this Anastasia Soft Glam palette, then let's just go ahead and jump on in. And while you guys are watching, it'd mean the world to me if you guys hit that subscribe button. And now, let's just go ahead and get started. So I'm sure you guys are already familiar with the palette. It just looks like all the other palettes. It just says Soft Glam in the front, Anastasia, and it does have that like soft velvety touch in the front. It is like a khaki color. It's more like a warm toned camel color. And then when you jump in, it looks like this. And real quick, if you guys don't know this, it is $42 just like all the other palettes. If you guys are new to Anastasia, all her palettes are $42. So when you jump in, this is what the palette looks like. And it does have 9 matte shades and then the rest are shimmers. The Modern Renaissance, which was like, this was like, oh my god, this just blew every palette out of the water. This is everyone's holy grail. It's what everyone talks about here on YouTube. So if you guys know this Modern Renaissance palette, you will know that there are 3 repeat shades inside of this palette from the Modern Renaissance palette. So there's Tempera, which is just this bone matte white shade, and then there's a burnt orange, and then there's Cypress Umber. And I personally don't have any problems with that just because I do think that those are staple shades in every palette. I think every palette should have that, a bone white shade just to set your concealer or your primer, whatever you guys use on your eyelids. Burnt orange is just a really good transition shade, and then Cypress Umber if you guys don't want to go in with a full-on black for a smoky eye. I really think that a dark brown is just necessary inside of a palette. So those were great shades to just kind of like keep in there. And then Dusty Rose is really, really close to, God, what was the color in here? Beyond Fresco, which as you guys can see, I've used that color quite a bit inside of this palette. So a lot of people are saying that these palettes do look very, very similar. To me, I get completely different vibes from this palette. This, I can actually see myself doing more of like daytime looks, and I know that's weird because this one is called Soft Glam for a reason. Like a lot of people were thinking, hey, you know, you could do a lot of daytime, you could do a lot of everyday. And although you can, I feel like you can just do a little bit more of a soft glam with this one. That's just my personal preference. So I'm moving right along from talking about like the actual packaging to like my personal review. What I felt about this palette is that all these shades seemed to be very dark on me. Like when I created just a subtle look, I felt like it was just like too dark to be a subtle look. Like when I tried to do just something very soft, I just felt like it just like went way too dark on me. Like it wasn't like a full-on just everyday look. The only thing that I feel like this palette is missing is the Vermeer color. Like I'd much rather them have put Vermeer in here than like glistening or fairy. To me, I feel like you don't really have an all over shimmer lid color, which really, really bothers me because I like having shimmer on my inner corner and my brow bone. And Tempera is obviously the lightest shade in here, but it's a matte, so it doesn't really highlight your inner corner. The Vermeer shade inside of the Modern Renaissance is like my favorite inner corner, my favorite all over lid. It's just a great, great shade to put on top of any shade if you want to just brighten it up, if you want it as an all over lid shade, whatever it may be, but it just brightens up the look. Whereas I feel like I can't really get a brightening effect with any of these because the color Fairy is extremely dark on me. The color Glistening is very dark on me. And I'm pretty fair skinned, but I'm not like super, super pale. So that says a lot to say that these are really, really dark. Like I would never use these as an all over lid shade just because I feel like they're too dark on me. It's not brightening at all. So that's the main thing about this palette is with my skin tone right now, with me not being tan, I feel like I can't get a very bright everyday look with this palette. Like I might be able to get one if I use temperas and all over and just do like a matte look with this palette, but that kind of defeats the purpose of then having like these shimmer shades right here. To me personally, I feel like every look that I try and do with this palette is going to be more of like a deeper nighttime look or more of like a glam look, whereas I want to go for more of like an everyday, very like light look, and I feel like I just can't get that with this. So because the color Glistening is very dark on my skin tone, I can't put it on top of Rose Pink and brighten it up. I tried brightening up this look a little bit more by adding, I think, Glistening on top of Rose Pink, and it was still very, very dark and very glam. Whereas I just want to go for like every day, and like I've been trying that this whole entire week to just do like orange soda, burnt orange, rustic, and then like Glistening, but it still seems to be too dark on me. So if you're very, very fair skinned, very pale, I don't see this being a good like light palette for you. I don't know if that even makes sense. Some of you guys might be like, how can you not get an everyday? But like you see all of this right here, and that's all dark. Like dark, 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 dark. And then these are like kind of light, and then Dusty Rose is a little bit darker and deeper than Beyond Fresco. So it's definitely like a dark mauve color. This is just an all over lid, and then you're left with these ones. And the fairy color is really, really yellow, like a very yellow gold, which don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful shade, but I would never put that all over my lid as like, hey, I'm gonna go to lunch. Like it doesn't call my name. In my personal opinion, right now while I'm fair skinned, I don't see me reaching for this palette a whole bunch unless I'm going for like a night out and I'm gonna just use like neutral shades. This is a great neutral shade palette, but Glistening and Fairy just don't really call my name as really good bright shades, and I just really need a bright shade. Like it just really bothers me that this palette doesn't have it, so I'm going to have to travel with like these two right here and just use only a couple. But now as far as the positives goes, this palette is just like the formulation of the Modern Renaissance, which I know so many people were curious about. I personally was curious about it because I've tried working with the subculture and it's very difficult for me to work for it. I have to try really hard and sometimes it doesn't even work. But yeah, this formulation is just perfect. It's very blendable. There is some fallout. I personally don't mind it. I know a lot of people hate fallout, but it's not like a huge deal to me. So there is just a little bit of fallout. The shades that did have a ton of fallout were like Tempura and then the black shade and Mulberry. Those were really the only ones that I had problems with like a bunch of fallout. But again, that's not a huge issue for me. I'm just pointing it out for you guys. And then I feel like the shimmers inside of this palette aren't like the Vermeer shade that's inside of Modern Renaissance. They're more like foiled shadows. They're very, very vibrant. Very beautiful shades. If you're looking for something super pigmented, you're definitely going to get it with Bronze, Sultry, Rose Pink, Glistening, and Fairy. They're very beautiful, but again, I just wish they had something that was like more usable for me. These are just very, very pigmented foiled shadows. They're not shimmer, they're definitely foiled, but I love them nonetheless. They're very beautiful and they're very different too. That's the good thing about Anastasia's. Although this is a neutral palette and just like an everyday palette, there is some different shades. So like Bronze is really different. Sultry is extremely different. I don't think I've ever seen a shade that looks like that. Rose Pink is just gorgeous and beautiful. And if you guys love your pinks, I feel like that's going to pair really, really pretty with the Modern Renaissance palette. So I just think you get a good combination of like different shades in here, but then it is a neutral palette. So I feel like if you're a deeper skin tone, this is going to be a perfect palette for you guys. If you don't really like pinks and the reds inside of here, I would definitely reach more for this because you definitely get a good combination between like cool tones and then like warm tones as well, but not like too warm. So those are the things that I did and did not like about this palette. Again, it's very user-friendly, beginner-friendly. If you guys are experienced or if you're just jumping into eyeshadows, I think this is a great palette for you guys to learn from. They're very easy to blend. They're very easy to pack onto each other. There's no patchiness, anything like that. So it's just a great palette overall. But again, for me personally, I just wish that they had that like brighter shades in there, like maybe like a cool toned white shade that's shimmer, or like just like that pinky Vermeer shade. Like if you could just put that Vermeer shade inside of this one, I would be set to go on this palette because I feel like using just one shimmer shade can really brighten up any look. But that's just what it's missing inside of here. So that's really the only negative that I have to say about this palette, is just I feel like it just goes really dark on me, but that's just my personal opinion. You guys might feel different, like I said, depending on your skin tones or who's using it. So those were all the pros and cons to this palette. If you guys have any other questions on this palette, definitely leave them in the comment section down below and I will definitely get back to you guys. But we're gonna move right along to the swatches and then we'll move right along to the tutorial and we'll be all finished with this video. But let's just get into the swatches. I already went ahead and primed my eyes and I just used my MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, which is my favorite way to prime my eyelids before any major eyeshadow look. So now I'm of course going to jump into the palette and I'm going to use the color, oh, the brush just fell out. I'm going to use the color Tempera, which is just a matte white shade. I'm going to take that color all over my eyelids just to set that primer and make sure that I have an even base for all my eyeshadow. Shade I'm going to take as my transition shade is Orange Soda right here. It's just a really light orange color and it's a perfect transition shade to build up that crease. And then the brush that I'm using is a Morphe M513 brush. It's just a fluffy one, blends out everything seamlessly. And for this eyeshadow look specifically, I'm going to overextend everything right here. I know it's going to look a little bit crazy, but if you guys watch my tutorials, you know that I go a little bit crazy right here on the edges and then I take a makeup wipe and just clean it up at the end. Now to my crease, I'm going to work in the color Dusty Rose right here, and the brush I'm taking is my Sigma E40. The next shade I'm taking is a Mulberry and it's just a very deep maroon color and I'm going to take that on my outer corner. This brush doesn't have a specific number to it, it's just a Morphe brush from a Morphe eye set. So I'm just going to take it on this brush. It's very, very pigmented, so I would be very careful with that. And I'm just packing that onto the outer corner. So everything that I do to my outer corner on this eye look, I'm going to base it off of where my wing is. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my wing using my NYX Liquid Matte Liner. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you guys what I'm doing right after. Now that the eyeliner wings are drawn on, I'm going to take my makeup wipe and just quickly clean up underneath those wings right there. And I would save this makeup wipe because you're probably going to have to do this again. So I've cleaned up my eyes a little bit. Now I'm taking my Morphe M321 brush, which is just a really, really small like packing brush, but it's like a fluffy brush at the same time. And I'm going to use it for my outer corner to pack on the color Noir. I don't know how to say that. That is all smoked out, so now I'm going to take my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer and I'm going to use this Sigma concealer brush and I'm going to cut out the inner corner right here on the lid and just meet it to that black part. Right in the middle where the black and the concealer meet, I'm going to take the color Sultry right here and I'm just going to take that on the same concealer brush that we just used. Before moving on to the rest of the lid, I'm going to take the color Noir again, and I'm going to deepen up the outer corner once again, just because I felt like that one shade kind of took over it. So I'm just deepening it back out. All over the rest of the lid, I'm going to take the color Rose Pink and place that on the other side of the concealer brush and put that all over the rest of my lid. So that's all for the eyeshadow for now. So I'm gonna use my NYX liquid matte liner and just redraw that wing just to make it a little bit more evident, because I feel like once you put eyeshadow on top, it just kind of fades away. So I'm gonna make it super black, super bold with this, and then I'm going to use these Allure Luxe. I think these are in the style Baroque, B-A-R-O-Q-U-E. So I think it's Baroque. I'm not sure, but I'm going to put these on and this on, and I'll be right back to show you guys. And then I'm going to finish up the rest of my face, and I'll show you guys that finished look. So I decided before I put on my lashes, I'm going to take the color Glistening, and I'm going to put that right on top of the pink just to give it a little bit more of a pop. I obviously did the rest of my makeup, so now I can go ahead and finish the eye look. So I'm going to use Orange Soda once again and just smoke that out onto my lower lashes. The next color I'm going to use is the color Burnt Orange, and also smoke that out onto my lower lashes. And now with this flat brush from Morphe, I'm going to take the black color Noir and place that really, really close to my lashes down here. And just smoke them out ever so slightly. Because this palette doesn't have an inner corner shade, I'm going to use the shade Vermeer from that Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia as well, and just place that on my inner corners. And on my brow bone as well. And to complete the look, I'm just using this L'Oreal mascara and coating those lower lashes. So that is the completed look to the tutorial using this Soft Glam Anastasia palette. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you with the tutorial and the review and the swatches and everything like that. Let me know if you guys want to see any more tutorials using this palette. I'd be happy to do that for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel today and watching my video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!